Isolation for these kids is a lot harder than a lot of other young people and what they might be going through for kids in at-home care especially. So
Hey, I'm Marty Smiley and this is How You, a series brought to you by Kids Helpline. On today's episode, we're talking about isolating in unsafe environments. At the beginning of the lockdown, many were faced with the reality that the household, the place that they live, would become a place they wouldn't be able to spend much time outside of. And if you're in a household where it's quite volatile, you can imagine that'd be pretty difficult, especially for a young person within a family. To talk to me about that, I'm chatting with Isaiah Dorr.
my name's Isaiah Dorr. I'm a bachelor in Garawa saltwater Murray man, and my skin name is Yakamari. And the work that I do is I'm the CEO and founder of ID Know Yourself, which is an Aboriginal not-for-profit mentoring organisation supporting Aboriginal children in out-of-home care.
How you going, man?
I'm good, brother, and yourself?
I'm doing really good. Man, you lived in over 35 homes. That must have been a pretty unique upbringing. How did that affect you growing up?
I never had that real consistency, and I go to think back to how I got through those days. People always ask me, they go, Isaiah, how did you get through the system? Like, you were handed all these difficult cards and you seem to come out the other end. And all it come down to was my mindset. Eventually I found out, that my great grandfather, my great grandmother, they were part of the stolen generation, and then us kids removed. So, 4 generations of intergenerational trauma. And it's just something that I say with my young kids in the ID Know Self program and those around me and my siblings is that, this generation, this is where it stops. It stops with me and it stops with all the other young kids. This cycle stops, and I, after finding out about these stories, that gives me a great hope. If there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. And so I'm very hopeful that these young kids can push through and come out the other side just like I did. And if I can use my negative experiences, then that can hopefully create a positive future for them.
Can you shed light on what it's like to be in the foster care system at the moment during the pandemic?
Isolation for these kids is a lot harder than a lot of other young people and what they might be going through for kids in at-home care especially. So my heart goes out to all those young people who are doing it incredibly tough in these times, and they don't have that platform to share those voices because there's no one checking in on these kids. And what about the kids who go to school and it's their safe place and now they're taken away from that? It's extremely challenging, especially for these young people's mental health, right? You can imagine what it has on us, as adults. Can you imagine those who are doing it incredibly tough and have significant trauma? They need that outlet, they need that safe place where they can talk and yarn, especially for Aboriginal young people, having that environment where it's culturally safe and appropriate, that they can be themselves and be proud and have their strengths identified in who they are. Young people might be in relationships with others that is toxic. It's not a safe environment for them to live together, or some young people, they've got thoughts and things going on in their mind, but they don't really have that person that's there that they can speak to right then and there. So that can be quite difficult for them. You can only do so much via a call. It's a whole nother level when you can have that physical yarn to yarn and get to the bottom of some of the reasons why they're feeling that way. You can actually show the love.
Do you think this pandemic is impacting Indigenous Australians in a different way?
I believe so, because I think a lot of us, we're community people. Being so community orientated and having that extended support, I think that really has impacted our community in the sense of that we don't have that kind of consistency, we don't have that good energy. That's how energy is created, human contact.
Yeah, I mean, that has a direct impact on your cultural expression, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, as we were saying before, is when you grow up in at-home care, your whole life there is just is around self-discovery, trying to figure out who you are. And you're trying to figure out, because a lot of the young people have been taken away from their family, and who usually teaches you who you are is your family. And it kind of gives them, I guess, a sense of direction. But when you're taken from that, and then you can't have that relationship anymore around figuring out who you are, you kind of become lost again. And then they get caught up in other bad habits to keep themselves satisfied or entertained. It's been hard for a lot of people, but I especially feel for those young people who are in out-home care, and especially those who haven't got an organisation like ID Know Yourself in their life.
Thanks so much for joining me today, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries, brother. Thank you.
Good luck with it all. Hey, if you want to find out more info about any of the stuff we talked about, head to kidshelpline.com.au, or for any time, any reason, email them, hit them up on web chat, or give them a call on 1-800-55-1800. Next time, we're going to be talking about another important issue that I think needs to be addressed. It's racism, xenophobia, and the effect it can have on our mental health.